Hi, I'm Lise Colucci of the Life Coaches at queenbeing.com, where we help you to discover, understand, overcome narcissistic abuse in toxic relationships. Hello and welcome. Um, so, hi. Today's question is, can a narcissist love? Can they really love? Well, let's look at this. Hello to you. Hello to the people who are here. So let's hi Nikki. So let's talk about how a narcissist loves, how they view the things in their life, the people in their life that they love. A narcissist will objectify, they will seduce, they will overwhelm with the love bombing, they will conquer their supply. With the love bombing, they show displays of what looks like love and appreciation, but do they really love? So if they've been with you a long time, or and they say they love you, what does that actually mean? What does it look like? Well, it's kind of, people will tell you the simple answer is they love you like an object. They love you like they love a toy. They love you like they love any object that they love and they could easily replace. But if you think about, like, what is love? What is love to you? Simplified, right? I guess love, that's a giant, what is love? That's a giant philosophical question, right? But it's an active concern, right? Active concern for another person's well-being. It's an active concern for another person's growth. We wish for people that we love to grow and thrive and succeed in life, right? Does a narcissist do these things? So I think it's important to look at what love is in a healthy way, and then think about what it feels like and what it is like to be with someone with a narcissistic personality disorder, and see if it lines up. I think that is a way to clearly look at this question. And so it's all what love also, in a healthy way, is a compassionate understanding of the other person's views. So does a narcissist do that, or do they shut you down and gaslight you for your own views and your own opinions? Let's see. It's attention. Do they give attention? Sure, sometimes. Do they give you real attention? Do they see you? Do they see who you really are? Because it takes seeing who someone really is and wanting to see what someone really is to love them. Otherwise, you're just loving what you think you know about them, right? So it's support. Love is acceptance and support. Are those things that a narcissist gives you? On some levels, sometimes some of those things are given. Sure, they can support in some ways and they can accept some things, but I'm talking about across the board. Do you feel like your life is filled with acceptance and support from your partner or your parent or whatever it is, if they are a narcissistic person? Do they show empathy? Is empathy exchanged between the two of you? Or are you giving empathy and getting nothing in return by way of empathy from the other person? So I think that kind of answers the question right there. But let's go further into it, okay? Because let me read here. Nikki says, I think my ex loved for what I did for him and how I made him look. He didn't love me as a person with feelings. He tried to make me into his dream girl. Exactly, which was the number one thing I said a narcissist will objectify. And unfortunately, that's what that sounds like to me, is pure objectification and using you for the supply and the good things that you do for them. Yeah, if you ask someone, you're in a relationship for X amount of years, and everyone does it. They say, oh, why do you love me? And it's usually things like things that you do for them if you ask someone who is narcissistic. So basically, how is it that they experience, or how is it that they function around love? Okay, I have a whole bunch of points here, so I'm just going to keep kind of reading off of it and then talking about it. A narcissist cannot see clearly the truth of themselves or others. And I kind of touched on that a little bit, but they can't see clearly because they're wrapped up in their idealization of what they believe the other person should be. Just like Nikki said, he tried to make me into his dream girl. Well, that's not seeing dear Nikki here, who I'm sure Nikki Ann is an amazing person and deserves love, right? So she deserves to be seen and for who she is and loved for that. And that's the difference because they cannot do that. They can't see a person for who they are and they can't see themselves as they are because they're constantly needing to protect the mask that they wear, right? Okay. Because they are constantly idealizing or devaluing and they lack self-awareness. That goes with what I just said. Let's see. They see others as objects. They I can't read my writing. Their empathy is lacking. We know this, right? The empathy is the major point. How can you love without empathy? You can want, you can crave, you can need, but how can you love? Because the core of love is empathy, isn't it? Seems to me. The mechanism of communication is distorted. So their means of communication in a relationship is a distorted means of communication. In other words, they project. So if they're projecting, they project both good and bad on you. They project what they want, the way they want the world to work and the way they are hiding from certain things. They'll project onto the situation and onto you, and therefore they're not actually looking at you. And how can they love you if that's going on? Let's see. They exploit and manipulate others. That doesn't sound like love to me. Does it to you? I mean, really, we're told. Let me just read this through and then talk about what it feels like to be loved in a healthy way. Okay. Hello, butterfly mama. Hello. So what's the last thing I said? They exploit and manipulate others. Forgot what I was going to say. In any case, people will often say, especially if they've been with a covert narcissist, that they think somewhere deep down that he loved them or that she loved them, or they can't understand how their narcissistic parent couldn't love them. I think that the narcissistic person has their own version of what love is. I mean, we all have our own version of what love is, right? But when I read this list, right after I say this, you'll see what I'm talking about. But the version that a person with a toxic personality disorder sees things as is everything is self-focused and self-oriented. To love another person is to give love to another person. It's not to take the other person as one's own and hold it as an item that you love, right? Loving is an exchange. The human experience of love with people with empathy is an exchange. Is that not right? And they simply can't do that because they don't have the capacity to give the empathy. So regardless of whether they treasure you as an object, that is not them loving you in the way that a person with empathy needs to be loved. So I guess the question really isn't can they love, it's can they love you in the way you need? Can they give you what you need? Right? Okay, so Nikki Ann, I heard somewhere that they can't feel multiple things at the same time. Like if they like you, they like you. And if they're angry, they're angry. Do you think that's true? It would explain a lot. I think it's likely that some people have that experience. I think that there's a complexity, there's a spectrum of the personality disorder, and there's also differing personalities within the personality disorder, or different types of people within the personality disorder. Trying to think just off the top of my head about that one, because what I've seen is that some of them can and some of them can't, just like other people. And it probably depends if they have anything else going on besides narcissism. But I think that when they are feeling extreme emotions, that's probably closer to the truth. When there's an extreme emotion, they're wrapped up in protecting whatever it is they need to protect to keep the mask on. It's all about self, right? So whatever emotion's up for them. I mean, they don't have the emotional intelligence of someone that can rationally not believe in the emotions that they're feeling, right? So, okay. Happy for the live. Hello, Robin. It's good to see you. So let's look at what it feels like to be loved and to know that you are loved for some people. And go ahead and leave comments of what it would feel like or what it does feel like for you when you're loved by someone and you know that you are loved. Because I only have a short list here. There's a lot of it's in personal and individualist, but it's also, these are some things that I think are kind of globally understood. Trust is present and it's reciprocated. There is a level of trust when you love someone that it isn't a matter of questioning. Or when you feel loved, rather. When you feel loved, you feel both that you trust that person and they trust you. And you can have a perfectly healthy relationship. Trust can be broken, and how that distorts the feeling of love. It alters it. That's why it's so damaging to break someone's trust when you love them. So trust is present. Wanting time together and making time together. And again, we can compare and contrast. Do narcissists actually make time for you? Or do they drag you along to the things they want to do? Or do they completely ignore you? Or do they mess with your time so that it seems like you're the one that doesn't have time for them? The reciprocal making of time together is what's shared in a healthy relationship, right? They ask about your well-being. So when you feel love, somebody asks you about your well-being. That you feel that person actually cares about your day and about your life and about who you are and what you're experiencing in the moment, right? When people feel love, they are offered caring help. So they don't have someone that tells them what to do and is critical of them for not doing it right. That's not help. What they have is somebody asking, how can I help? Right? Oh, this is a good one. That when people feel love, they feel respected for their differing views. They feel that even if it's an agree to disagree sort of feeling, and that even in debate, their views are respected. Must be nice. Right? There's physical affection that is wanted on both sides, and it is reciprocated, and it doesn't push boundaries. And if you just read my article on sex and narcissism, you'll know what I'm talking about here. Decisions are made together. When someone feels that they're in a loving relationship, the decisions of the life are made together. Maybe not all of them, but you know what I mean. Most of them, a lot of them. Or especially decisions about the relationship. Let's put it that way. Life may be, you can have separate lives and totally love someone. It could be a parent and you have a completely separate life. But if decisions regarding the relationship and how it should look and go are definitely made together. They feel that the person not only looks at them, but actually sees them. When someone feels loved, they feel like they are seen. I think that is, to me, that actually tears me up, because that to me is the quintessential expression. And that's when you know that someone is like true, right? Because they see you and you know what it feels like if you've ever felt it. Okay. You know that person has your back. It doesn't mean that they're gonna, cover for you when you're doing something wrong. It actually means they'll hold you up to your best standards in a polite and kind way, but they also have your back if the world gets tough, right? So they enjoy discussions of both the past and the future. So they enjoy talking about things you did together, what you will do together, not in a fakey kind of future faking way, but in a way that builds a community and a life between you. Okay. And one last one I have is you feel great about yourself when you are around them. So the aim is to feel great when you're about yourself. Well, sorry. The aim is to feel great about yourself when you're around yourself, right? But if you can feel great about yourself when you're around yourself, and that continues when you're around someone else, then you may just be feeling loved. Okay? Whether it be a friend, a partner, a parent, whatever, you're feeling loved if you're feeling good about yourself when you're around someone. And so those are some things. Now, can a narcissist give you any of those things? I have yet to experience that. There may be um, intermittent pieces of those things peppered in with the love bombing, but this is consistently how it feels when you're in a loving relationship or have a loving friendship or whatever. That's consistently how it feels, and the stuff that doesn't feel like that is few and far between. So, okay, anybody have anything they want to talk about? This was my shorty but goodie of does a narcissist love? I would say the answer is not in the way that a person with empathy needs to be loved, because none of the things on the checklist are they able to meet. And I think the point is we have to realize that it's not us that doesn't meet their standards, it's them that doesn't meet ours. They are the ones who are lacking and deficient in empathy. And we leave these relationships feeling like we're the ones who are broken and couldn't make it work. Can you see how flipped that is? It's completely opposite of how it should be. We should have our standards high enough. What I mean by should is, in a perfect world, it would look that way, not that anyone's at fault and you should. I mean, I wish it could be, because, yeah. So Robin says, when people feel loved, they feel safe. Yes, they do. Thank you. How did I miss that one? They feel safe. When people feel loved, they feel safe. Yes. Safe to talk about personal dreams, safe to discuss uncomfortable issues in a relationship to make it better, safe to discuss life and daily decisions. Okay, I'm going to read that again because, Robin, that's perfect. When people feel loved, they feel safe. Safe to talk about personal dreams, safe to discuss uncomfortable issues in a relationship, and safe to discuss life and daily decisions. Are any of those things possible with a narcissistic person? Okay. In fact, that's the very thing, that lack of safety is it creates so much anxiety, and it really, really messes with your head, because you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, Nikki Ann says, definitely not safe, always walking on eggshells. That's right. Hello, Treehugger. So anything you guys want to talk about with this question, or any questions you have about anything going on in your life, go ahead and feel free to ask. I will probably keep this short otherwise today, and because I'll be on tomorrow as well. So I just wanted to get this one out because I couldn't get it off my head all day, and I kind of needed that out of my head. You can imagine why. I was sitting around with that in my head all night. But so I hope that answers the question of, can a narcissist love? Do you feel like that answered can a narcissist love? Because I feel like just reading that, I got a clear answer. Treehugger, tomorrow, my aim is, I'm having to convert time, let's see, 2 Central, so noon Pacific-ish, right around there. Somewhere around noon Pacific. I'll be coming on after Angie and Dana. That's the aim. So whenever they're done. So I say ish because I don't know when they're actually done. So that's that for tomorrow. That's Tuesday. And let's see. Okay. So that's it. I feel like the answer to that question is no, they can't really love, not in the way that's needed for somebody who wants a life where they feel safe, where they feel safe in their relationship, where they feel validated in their relationship, and where they feel heard and seen. Okay, those are, I gotta write safe down here, because honestly, how did I miss that one? It's like the biggest, yeah, safe. Thank you. Safe, validated, seen, heard, understood. Freedom to be myself. And here's another one. Love should feel free, in a sense. I mean, there's all kinds of versions of what a relationship can look like, but do any of you experience the feeling of an obligation to love the narcissist? Why am I sitting like that? Sorry. Do any of you feel an obligation to love the narcissist? You know what I'm talking about? Like, almost manipulated into it, even though part of you just did, but part of you, it was kind of a like you could feel the manipulation. Have you anyone experienced that? It's not a freely given love. It's you can feel the supply being taken if you think about it. I was none of those things for 10 years. It's so hard. I know. So there's now, right? So I guess how do I want to end this? What do we want to talk about to bring this back to something that we can do something with? I like to consider what it is we can do once we have this information to make ourselves feel better, because it's kind of sad and hopeless to think about the fact that if you're still with someone and they're narcissistic, they actually can't love, not in the way that you need. Not in the way that, I mean, I don't know what anyone needs. I don't know what anyone else needs, but I know that someone with empathy probably needs those things on the list, at least a majority of them, and their own list. And the fact is that it's not going to come from someone who doesn't have empathy. So, yes, yes, yes to freedom to be myself, and also feeling like I had to love him, or at least like I had to play caretaker. Exactly. Treehugger says, I was reminded constantly that I said yes, so I couldn't leave. See? Yeah. And it's sometimes with the more covert people, it is this subtle manipulation of wording, and it's not coming to my head, but if you've experienced it, you know what I mean. There's a subtle manipulation of wording for how they basically keep you trapped, obliged to love them. And if you question their love, here's another thing I feel like. If I loved someone and they questioned my love, they questioned whether I loved them, I would wonder what I was doing if it was a healthy enough relationship where the person had a sense of self and they weren't, overly, what's the word do I want to say? Overly anxiously attached, maybe. And they asked if I loved them. I would wonder what I was doing to make them question my love for them. And I would look at myself and ask them, what am I doing? Have you ever asked that question to a narcissist? And have you ever had them ask you that? It's an interesting one. Yeah. So exactly, she was a covert, right? Okay. Robin says, I felt obligated at some point. Right. It's not right away. It's later on. And that obligation I'm talking about is because once you start seeing things, yeah, that's a whole nother topic. Anyway, so what do you think? I don't think they can love. What do you think? You guys think they can? I guess I'm going to head out unless anyone has a question. Anyone have anything that they've got going in their life or brewing right now that they would like to talk about before we head out? I'll wait a second while you do that, and I will talk about, what will I talk about? Oh, tonight we are starting group coaching for boundaries. The boundaries group, that'll be excellent. And then tomorrow is self-care group, which has started last week, but people can join anytime. You just need to contact me so I can get you the right rate for however many weeks are left. And that's it. We have another group called the Evolving Group, and that is for people who are wanting to work on things like, healing inner child wounds. Basically, my focus in there is helping people to see where they have limiting beliefs and change them. And it kind of goes across multiple topics. It keeps coming back to that lately is our belief system. So, and that's a great group. That's a Wednesday night group. And the group coaching can be found on Life Makeover Academy, and I can put a link up too. Anyway, anybody have anything? I'm just rambling while I'm waiting to see if anyone has a question. It does not look like it. So I'm going to head out, and I will see you tomorrow, and we will talk. Okay. Well, I'm so sad. I'm just so sad. It came out of nowhere. I was doing so well. These are helpful. You're welcome. You're sad out of nowhere. Is that what you mean? Like you were doing better and then you felt bad? That's really, if so, that's that's the way it is. It's like a roller coaster. It's not, healing isn't a straight line. You see the picture of the squiggly ball of squiggles, and that's healing. It's the big squiggly tangled up mess. It is not a straight line. And what happens is layers of healing happen. So you feel better and you feel great and you have all this energy and you're like, I can do this, because you have released some of your attachment to the toxic person. And then you have a trigger, or then you just have day-to-day life and it's mundane and it's like, oh, I miss this, I miss the whatever. And you're right back in it, and it comes and goes and comes and goes. And each layer that you heal, though, gets you stronger. Okay, it's each layer and each piece that you take on and heal and work with. And if you see what it is that's triggering you, and this is where we work a lot in that group I'm talking about, is if you see where it is triggering you and what it's bringing up for you, sometimes you can find a belief that you have about yourself that was programmed, put there, or whatever, from toxic childhood, from life, just from, growing up in this society. There's all kinds of reasons it can be there. And you work on that belief, and you get another level of healing, and it just keeps getting better. So, and honestly, with self-care, you keep up self-care, that helps too. And every time you fall like this, where it feels like you're sinking, just keep going back to that self-care, because it's there it's a place to be there for yourself, and it helps you have something to do, to focus on while you're feeling low, right? And it's like, it's a little less helpless feeling. It feels like you're actually doing something, to make yourself feel better. So that's what I have for that. So self-care, yeah. Like I said, the self-care group. I would check in with your self-care too. I don't know how, no one's replying, so I'm just talking as if you're answering me with what you might be saying. I don't actually know. But and when you don't feel like doing self-care, just do it anyway. Well, that's what I was getting to, is that sometimes there's different reasons people don't use a lot of self-care, or they don't think of it, or they don't feel like it, or whatever. But a lot of it is how we see self-care, right? It's how we see what it actually is. And if you look at it more like it's caring for yourself, rather than it's taking myself out and doing these extravagant pampering things, then you realize that every moment of your life, you're actually taking care of yourself. So it's the amount of attention you're willing to put into that. And if you start putting attention and focus in a positive way into something, the negative stuff has to kind of wait its turn. So you see what you're doing, you're setting a pathway in your brain that says, I can be positive, without kind of a tricky way to, to get yourself feeling a little more positive. And no, it's not easy. Sometimes it's just a matter of paying attention that you're not taking care of yourself in mundane tasks and just doing daily stuff and putting a little care there. So that's my self-care spiel. And like I said on a video the other day, I will probably talk about self-care in every single video I ever do. So there you go. Some reason it's like a thing. All right, you guys, I guess that is it for today, unless anyone has anything they want to talk about. I realize this was a weird timing that came on, but if not, y'all good? Okay. Again, thank you. My name is Lise, and I am one of the life coaches at queenbeing.com. And I want to thank you for being here, and I wish you well with your healing. If you enjoyed this, subscribe so that you can get notifications when I'm on. And wait, what do we have here? Yes, I will read that. Sorry, I just stopped to read right in the middle of it, saying goodbye. Yes, Robin, I'll read that for another one. Thank you. Anyway, I wish you the best. Take care. See you next time.